Hello, Starseeds. Welcome to Source Energetics. My name is Ashtara, and today we have a interdimensional channeling little reading, forecast, suggestions, advice, guidance, whatever it is going to be. I don't know yet. I just know that I'm going to be offering some channeling. So I would love for you to just tune into your heart, let go of any expectations. If you've been watching a bunch of different tarot readings on YouTube and you stumbled across this, maybe you should just take a break. But if you're here just to receive the calibrations that you are meant to receive at the moment, then I'm happy to channel for you. Okay, so just tuning into your heart, grounding your energy to the earth, whichever element that you resonate with at the moment. Of the earth, it could be any of her elements. And connecting with your innermost self, just kind of letting your mind drift into the background as you come into full awareness of your divine self within. And connecting with the galactic guides that are assisting with these transmissions today. Requesting to deliver the highest level of frequencies, resonance, and alignment through these transmissions. We're going to begin with calling in the oversoul aspects of Orion for the group soul that is tuned into Orion, tuning into the oversoul aspects of Sirius to the group souls tuned into Sirius, and tuning into the oversoul aspects of Pleiades for the group souls tuned into Pleiades. And before we get into the actual channeling portion, knowing that these are vibrational transmissions first and foremost, and so the transmission begins now. And let's get into the reading. Okay, so what I feel first and foremost is a level of clarity on matters that have been clouding your judgment for a long time. And this mental confusion that has been fogging your decision making or just fogging your vision in general. And I'm talking about third eye vision. I'm talking about your navigation through reality rather than, just actual 3D vision. But actually, it could also include your 3D vision because physical anatomy is so closely related to the metaphysical. Some of you actually might be correcting your vision or enhancing your vision, both on the physical plane and the metaphysical plane. It's almost like you are downloading a new way of navigating through the subtle realms. And that's actually the funny thing is people tend to fall into habit patterns of how they interact with subtle energies or even the astral or the causal plane or so on and so forth, higher dimensional planes. When as people's consciousness evolves, of course, that's going to change as well. So if you're used to navigating the subtle energetic planes in a certain way, and you have this habit pattern of, just really interacting with this infinite field in a very certain way, then you're getting an upgrade to how that works. And so at first it's going to be confusing. And at first it's going to feel almost like you're lost or that you've lost your abilities to navigate through these energetic planes. But quickly you're going to realize that actually you're just upgrading through it. So that could even include how you navigate through timelines, how you navigate through the various aspects of yourself, your subpersonalities or the different versions of yourself, because you're quite literally oscillating between the versions of yourself and you're oscillating between your subpersonalities, the projections, whether that is coming from external projections or internal projections, both, and how you navigate through shifting timelines, dimensions, how you decode information, how you receive information, how you receive guidance, how you interact with these various archetypes of energy. All of it is going through a massive upgrade. And so if you've been feeling like guidance has either slowed down, or maybe your abilities of navigating through the psychic realms has been strange, or that the way that you manifest your trajectory has been shifted, all of that is because there's a new way that you are going to navigate through these realms. And the funny thing is, it's like templated. So it's not like you have to invent the new ways, but you're gonna like start to figure out how it really works. So it's a time where it's almost like when you unlock a new level in a video game, you're gonna start to figure out what's different in that new level. Sort of like that. You're gonna figure out what's different and how your psychic functions are different, and how your guidance navigation is different, your archetype is different, but it's again really true to your soul. But as a human being evolving, you're gonna get to figure out what has really shifted and changed. So rest is pivotal, good nutrition is pivotal. And when I say good nutrition, I don't mean to, people obviously always will fall into this judgment of what food is good and nurturing. But really, what's more important than the actual food is the emotions and the thoughts that you have about what you're consuming, and how you charge it, how you work with it. We have the Lovers, 9 of Wands. There's defensiveness around choices, decisions. There's defensiveness around connections. Looks like some of you actually got out of a situation, got out of connections, got out of a set of choices that you had. And you're starting to realize that when you really thought you had to choose between one option, A or B, and you've been conflicted around, do I choose option A or B? And starting to realize that there's whole nother level of options, and you don't have to choose between A and B, and there's other ways to navigate around this. And if you felt frustrated about your ability to create a clear decision or choice, that's actually because you weren't meant to make a decision from these limited constructs. So these choices that you thought you had sprang out of a certain level of perceiving reality, it sprang out of a certain level of consciousness. But when you are ascending in your octave of frequencies, the choices morph. So it's no longer the same choices. It's like you thought you were backed into a corner with these choices, but there's actually a whole other layer of pathways that open up when your frequency and your relationship with the world is evolving. Then the only choices that you thought you had, completely morph in character, in their nature, in their consequences, and the previous choices become almost irrelevant. And this is happening in a lot of different areas in your life. Some of you guys are really getting in touch with Christ consciousness, or like Christ Sophia archetypes. There's a Hanged Man energy. So there's like this extreme frustration around the way you feel about your current choices, again, like your timelines, your navigation. And it's almost like you're projecting in your current reality the different timelines that are in front of you, and you're frustrated at all of your timeline choices. But the thing is, like, it's not about the timelines. It's about the vibration in which you're projecting into the timelines. It is about the way that you are decoding the pathways ahead of you. And it's like you're forcing this new dimensional bandwidth that is your actual timelines in front of you right now, and you're acting as if it should behave in a certain way, and you're projecting the way that these timelines are going to morph out into the future, but that's not the nature of these timelines ahead of you. It's almost like you are trying to fit in based on your previous experience. Well, when I had this situation 8 years ago, and these were the choices, and it seems like it's the similar choices ahead of me now, they tended to go this way and that way. So you're literally projecting those functionalities of those timelines from the past that was so irrelevant because you were vibrating in a completely different octave, not even like a subdimension, like it was a completely different octave, and you're projecting it into the timelines ahead of you now, and you're like, I don't like these timelines, but like those are not even the functionalities of how the ones in front of you work. And so it's just kind of waiting for you to see the malleability and the truth about these timelines in front of you right now. And some of you are really struggling with the concept of age, just the whole concept of time, concept of years. Some of you are actually like really upset about what you've accomplished at your human age, if that makes sense to you. Like, okay, should I be showing you the cards and stuff? Like, I've been asking myself this question so many times. Like, I don't know, cause if I show you the cards, right? Like, do you even like there's no way that I'm channeling all of these, and you can't get what I'm saying out of these cards. Like, I'm straight channeling. So these just create certain boundaries for me to receive, but I'm basically freeform channeling. That has very little to do with the cards. Some people get upset, like, why don't you show the cards? Because I'm like, it feels stupid for me to hold up a card that is like a flat 2D rendition of like an eighth dimensional message that I'm conveying. Like the sound frequency of my voice. Anyway. And when I say eighth dimension, I'm just using it as a metaphor. I'm not actually saying that this is coming from eighth dimension. This is interdimensional, and it's morphing through various different dimensions. So this is exactly what I mean. It's like you are projecting a flat limitations to the trajectory that you're on. You're complaining about the trajectory that you're on. You're projecting into the trajectories that you're on. You're judging the choices ahead of you as if they're not good enough, but you're not looking at it right. Or else, like, actually though, you have the ability to look at it right. Sometimes you do look at it right, but it's time for you to actually put the two and two together, where it's like you have bubbles of pockets of being able to clearly see your reality and the truth about your consciousness and all of that. But then it's like time to integrate that into your experience of self, experience of timelines, experience of trajectories, and all that good stuff. Okay, so we have the 10 of Cups, and then we have the 5 of Pentacles. You are rewiring what lack actually means for you. I think that you're going to come across a time where lack, the concept of lack, the lack of anything at all, lack of resources, lack of time, the lack of connections, whatever it is that you feel a lack towards, you're getting a clear new relationship with lack. So whereas before lack might have made you cringe or might have made you feel stuck, but it doesn't have the same weight on you anymore because you've been able to process lack and kind of create an energetic pathway to break through concepts or limitations of what lack actually is. And it doesn't hold that much reality for you anymore. So even if you are experiencing any form of lack at all, there's a part of you that's growing internally that just knows that it's not as real as you think. And these like dense situations.
A temporary issue has occurred while connecting to the server. Please try again. 200.
I'm in an Airbnb, so like I don't know. I'm in India. That's why the AI has an Indian accent. I'll be here for a couple more weeks. Okay, anyway, not here, but in India for a couple more weeks. I'm actually exhausted right now from traveling. Why am I going on a tangent? Anyways, lack doesn't hold that much truth for you anymore. Like, whereas before, any thought of lack, whether it is time or resources or connections or options, made you fall into these depths of density before. Now it's like you don't really buy it anymore. You can't really buy it anymore. It's like if you were a little kid and you're watching a magic show and you have no idea how magic shows work, and then you're believing literally everything. Or if you're a kid and you're watching a movie and you don't really know how movies work and you're just literally believing everything on the screen, versus when you figure out like how it works, then when you're watching it, you're not as tricked by the magic. I mean, obviously it's still fun, and sometimes if you're like David Blaine or something, it's still mind-boggling, but for the most part, you're not like completely puzzled by the tricks or the whatever is going on, you know? So it's like you are able to find the baseline of fulfillment through any illusions of lack, which is a really highly metaphysical achievement that you're about to experience. We have the Chariot, we have the Eight of Cups, and then we have the Moon. July is a significant month. There's going to be a lot of forward movement where you're leaving behind subconscious patterns, subconscious fears, and that's going to start to actually materialize. You're actually going to act on all of these subconscious shadows that you've been processing. So it's like, how I can put this is like, if you have clearly mastered a certain energetic dynamic in a very certain niche area of your reality, and it's time for you to actually apply that, because it's a transferable energetic skill, like energetic wiring. So for example, if you're able to transmute lack, and that say had to do with the lack of either resources or time or connections, or the lack of confidence, lack of worth, that transmutative process is actually transferable to all the other aspects of reality. If you're really like tuned in to a higher dimensional processing of reality, then these are actually really transferable. And so it just seems like you are applying these to multiple different areas of your life. The transmutation of lack, the disillusionment from lack, and allowing that to just kind of like transfer into all the different areas of your life. Any place that you feel lack, even if it's like fulfillment or love or whatever it is, it's like you're about to really break through. It's like I just see like shift through like patterns, petals of how your reality manifests. And in about a couple of months, when you take that step forward, or a leap of faith, or you kind of try at something that you've been trying for a really long time, and it's like you are saving up your energy, like your chi, and processing all this internal work, which it seems like what you're doing now. It feels like you're drilling into such deep level of work that you don't even know how time is processing itself. There's a huge notion around time. So it's like you're floating through time and you're not even sure what is happening with the time and how it's really going and running. But you're also going to be able to really clearly refine your relationship with time in a lot of cases where you felt this frequency of lack. And you're going to start to put together a very precise way of navigating through all these different layers of your reality, all the different aspects of your reality. And things are going to come to light. Okay. I'm going to do like one or two more. We have victory. Yep, it's going to come into whatever is feels like, really felt like slow moving, and it does feel like you're completely confused what is happening at the moment, and things are slowly moving, and it feels like you've been focusing on being devoted or dedicated to something quite invisible, like something that is not so tangible. People can say they're disciplined about what they eat, they can be disciplined about their routines, but there comes a time where you're very much disciplined and devoted to something that you can't really quantify. And that's what I feel like you've been doing. And it's like you haven't really seen the results of that yet. But that's the whole point, is like you're not doing this for the results, but you're kind of rewiring a whole new way of being. And you're going to be able to find out what that does for your life. But that was never the point anyways. And so, yeah, I'm going to leave that here. I'm going to pull some oracle cards because these were all tarot cards. So you're really working with some hefty archetypal energy. These are like things that will impact your entire soul group as you work through these energies. So this is impactful work that you've been doing, that you are doing, and that is going to affect generations to come, not just you. Some people really moving through heartache and heartbreak and some endings with connections, as I said, but this is all leading to the highest level dynamic of connections that are going to come in. But it's like some of you are really purging some painful connections right now, karmic, whatever you want to call it. Boundaries. You've been learning boundaries, ascension. Strengthen your aura, creativity. For a lot of people listening, patience. Patience was a very serious lesson that you've been learning. And that is exactly why when you know that you've actually mastered this lesson of patience, you won't be asking for when the results are coming. And that seems to be one of your biggest lessons right now. And one of your other biggest lessons is like creating these boundaries of how you experience your reality and these sort of energies that are very challenging for you to deal with. Sometimes whatever technique that you think is going to work won't be as effective as your ability to see your truth. Sometimes this reminds me of a conversation that I had with a couple of different people in the last couple of weeks. And it's about being able to feel literally everything. If you're sensitive and you can literally feel everything, the people's emotions and the entire city and this entire world. Sometimes you could just feel the entire world in your body, and it's painful. It's a lot. And, of course, you could also feel the bliss of it, but the discernment of you learning how to tune out of it, and sometimes knowing that it's not even useful to tune into all of it, that's actually one of the most important lessons. A lot of people actually love being hypersensitive to everything because it gives them a sense of control, or maybe it gives them a sense of feeling like they have all these psychic abilities. So they actually enjoy feeling everything of what other people are thinking, what other people are feeling. They're just wide open, their psychic perception channels. And sometimes, like, just choose not to. Just choose not to. Okay. Last card. I'm going to pull from the water deck. Okay. Isle of Avalon, healing, return to wholeness, transformation. As if I didn't say that. So y'all are like in a cocoon phase right now. Continue to rest, take care of your body, and let yourself go through this phase of transformation. Don't expect anything particular out of it. There's a part of you that knows exactly how, like, again, this is the blueprint that was already set in motion before you were even born. So whatever is going to come out on the other side, it's not something you have to plan for, but it's going to feel like yourself. And it's gonna maybe take some time to purge out of the expectations that you have of how this should look like, when it should happen, or these social projections you can tune into of how other people want you to turn out. And all of that, you know, it will naturally filter itself out once you have just drop the expectations, drop the projections. Projections have a certain frequency bandwidth. You don't have to know exactly what are the projections, but if you want to approach this with a high level of efficiency, just learn what it feels like when you're tuning into a projection as a whole. Like, projections have a certain frequency that is way different than the actual truth of something. So once you learn to tune into the frequency bandwidth of projections that are limited to the frequency bandwidth of projections, then you get to just kind of like work with releasing all of that rather than trying to pinpoint what is being projected. Okay? Sending you so much love. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next read. Okay, bye.